I won't fall for any bad pickup line. You've got to try 2 or 3 at least.
You look pretty, I like your hair. Here's a drink.
Joseph?
Get good.
What's on your mind, little one?
I'm Pygmy.
Yeah.
And I've come here to train to become a protection warrior. I was told you were the best.
Sword on board? You?
So you learned that I loves to do me some of that machinima over there. But what did I learn this week? Number 1! So, as you all know, the Rapture was this past weekend, and if you are still here and watching this, well, you have been very, very naughty. However, strangely enough, the preacher who said the world was coming to an end is still here too, and he insists his calculations were wrong, he's got it all worked out now, and the real end comes 5 months from now. That would be October 21st. What else happens that day? BlizzCon? So I say to you, my children, on the 21st of October, fire shall rain from the skies, cats will sleep with dogs, and Chris Metzen will herald in the dark days with a shrill cry of "King kills," and woe, man shall suffer. Numero dos. Speaking of the end times, apparently the World of Warcraft is ending this week as Blizzard announced a major nerf incoming in 4.2. Let's see if we can run it down really quick for you. Damage reduced, life reduced, less HP, reduced, less, reduced, decreased. Yeah, that's a nerf. So for anyone who can't read, here's the gist of the situation. Firelands is coming out and Blizzard is nerfing the hell out of all the old content. This has caused some fan rage, but honestly, I am more than open to discuss this with you in the future in viewer responses or whatever, but the only thing getting majorly nerfed is old normal modes. And sure, they're allowing casuals access to better gear, but it's not the best gear, just better gear. Now, I know most of the major raiders out there don't think the casuals deserve it, but come on now, take a step back, tell me how that affects you. If you're a high-end guild who plows through the content in weeks, the changes to the old raids don't even affect you at all. You haven't even been there for months. And sure, there's only 7 new bosses, but you act like this is something new. There have been tons of previous raids with the same number or less. TOC, Sunwell, the Eye, Blackwing Lair, there have been a few. And notice 2 of those are in Burning Crusade, which many people consider the pinnacle of WoW. Just because it doesn't have 14 bosses doesn't mean it sucks. There are many things to complain about in WoW, my friends, but this is not one of them. I am willing to bet the majority of the people complaining still haven't seen, let alone beaten Sinestra. Now, I know a few people were saying that it would be easier to get the legendary staff parts because everything would be so easy. I can't say I know exactly how that quest line works and what you have to do for it and everything, but take a moment. Think back to, say, Ulduar, for example. When people were running around in ICC, how many of you actually went back and collected the shards to get whatever the hell that healer mace was called? For that matter, how many people have the Sunwell legendary, or, say, have both Twin Blades of Azeroth? Sure, they might be easy to get, but how many of you actually did it? Don't get me wrong, I understand why people are mad. You feel like you worked really hard to accomplish something, and now it's being virtually given to others for free. It's this whole, I busted my ass for 3 months to get all this awesome gear and stand out, and now Joe Blow gets to look as cool as me? I get it, I understand, it sucks, sure, but is it really that important? You still get to be server first, you still get to show off your kills, you get better gear before anyone else, and you still get to call everyone who isn't as good as you a keyboard-turning noob. The only difference now is that other people get to experience stuff that you had fun with months ago. How is that bad? I mean, I guess I just don't understand how this specifically affects you. If you want to explain it to me, by all means, please do. But most of the complaints I'm seeing are either coming from people who haven't even done all the content or who don't even play the game anymore. I see a lot of people who are like, well, I unsubbed and I'm mad because they're making it easier and I still wanted to play it as it was intended. Well, sorry, but they're doing this specifically so you can catch up to top raiders. If you think this is bad, and you in some way are going to suck now because you didn't get your raid training from the first 5 months of Cata, where were you for the last 7 years? That is on you, my friend. So before we wrap up here, let me just say, I know my opinion won't be the most popular because right now it's really cool to hate WoW, but trust me, there are many things wrong with this game. I am one of those who hate 4.1, and I've complained about the bosses in Cata being merely light shows with trick mechanics, but this whole 4.2 nerfing is the end of WoW thing is not a hill I'm willing to die on. I need a drink after that one. So recently I've spent the majority of my WoW time on the PTR, and while there are plenty of bugs that make me just want to ram my fist through my monitor, every so often you come across something like this. What is going on here?
Oh, dude, freaking, it's the bear mount. It's the bear mount in general. Look at Thunder. Yeah, look at, oh my god, look at Thunder.
That is awesome. Dear Blizzard, I demand that this be made a permanent title. Failure to do so will find you booted into the trash. So like many of the people on the PTR, I spent a lot of time this past week checking out the new hairstyles. And sure, they added 3 or 4 to every race, though from what I saw, not all of them are actually new. For example, all they did was give the female orcs female undead hair. The only races that seemed like they got anything cool was the trolls, and by all accounts, it's about damn time. But for the rest, it's just transfers from other races. But hey, maybe you like gnome hair on a blood elf. So my question this week is, have you guys checked out these new hairstyles? And more importantly, do you like them? What's your favorite? And if you think they all suck, which hairstyle would you have liked to have seen? Maybe a Justin Bieber? Anyway, answer that, and you might find yourself in next week's... Last week when I asked how we could possibly fix this very annoying take this many days to do this many quests, then this many days to do this many quests, and then this many days to do this many quests feeling from 4.2, Omega Shannick responded, my fix for the Firelands daily quests? Remove the first mark of the World Tree Turn-In quest. Let's face it, we all want to play 4.2 to go into the Firelands, and having to wait a week to do that is ridiculous. Just let the people into the new content, not Hyjal 2.0. Keep those dailies and obviously fix the bugged ones, but let people get into the new content immediately. Simple. Well, first off, let me say I completely agree with you, but while reading that again, I had like an epiphany moment. The reason why I think there's such a drawn-out intro to the Firelands is so that when 4.2 hits, players can get some new content while at the same time wrap up the now much easier BWD and BOT. Catch people up on the story, get a week or two more of equipment, and enter the new raid. I'm not sure I agree with that philosophy, and I think that actually annoys me much more than anything else 4.2 has done, because why hamper raiders to cater to casuals? Like, that's a bigger issue for me than anything else. Like, let the raiders do their thing, let the casuals do their thing, help the casuals all you want, but don't hold back the raiders. Like, I really disliked TOC or a bunch of the other things they've done in the past where basically they held raiders back. That is annoying. I don't think that should be allowed. Let the raiders loose and let them destroy your content. You should probably, I don't know, make more. But I'm not sure how I feel about that. Not a big fan of unlocked progression. Ronan responded with, wish Rag came through his keep again into Hyjal, so really burning the World Tree. I remember back when they first talked about this content, they said he was here to attack the World Tree, so thought it would be epic battle or quest to protect the tree itself from Rag or heck Deathwing. You know what? I actually do remember something like that, and it's kinda sad because Blizzard had so much potential to go all out on this thing. I mean, Hyjal starts out pretty okay, and it builds this really big epic battle, and it's kind of fun. But then in 4.2, they seem to just negate 99% of what you did, and then give you this like half-assed redone version of Hyjal. I mean, the story's like, well, they broke through our lines again. What lines are you talking about? There is a giant-ass turtle who one-shots dudes standing right over there. Also, total lore nerd moment, but why do the Twilight's Hammer want to burn down the World Tree? I mean, I guess because they're like crazy bad guys who just want to destroy the world, but what purpose does that serve? I mean, I have gone through the Hyjal quest chains 3 times now and still have no clue why they just want to do it. They just do. Any lore fans out there want to help me on this one? Because I have no idea. And finally, last week when I said the phrase pretty incredible boss mechanics in the Blizzard post about 4.2 had me worried, Kishi2648 replied, pretty incredible boss mechanics. All I can think of is Malagos. I hate him. I only killed him like twice at most. Once on my DK for the title and maybe a second time on my Hunter. He was just a pain. I remember after ICC runs, we would try to do him and it was always the same thing. Boring phase 1, interesting phase 2, and everyone dies in phase 3 till somehow we got lucky and one of our guys soloed him on phase 3 and he was like at 5% HP. And the funny thing is, even he had no idea how to do it. I love reading that because it brings back great memories of Malagos, but with that said, I have to say, playing through some of the PTR bosses in 4.2, except for maybe 1 or 2, the mechanics really aren't that incredible, which is kind of a good thing. I agree. Over-the-top fights like Malagos seemed awesome at first, but after a while, it was just unbearably boring and long, and don't get me started on trying to teach new people phase 3. Might as well have just said, you know what, die in phase 2 and save us the trouble. So yeah, I agree about epic boss encounters being a little too much, and a little too long, and a little too annoying, but so far, 4.2's boss encounters haven't really been that epic and massive and incredible boss. They've been simple to master and just difficult, which I think is a good thing. Though somewhere in the back of my head I have this gnawing suspicion that those words are probably going to come back to haunt me, most likely in a future failure of the week. This week's failure is less of a failure and more of a what the hell am I doing wrong? This has nothing to do with WoW, so if you don't care, you can leave right now, but I need some techies to help me, and let's face it, you're my only hope. So for those of you who don't follow our Facebook fan page, for shame. I recently got a new PC, and it is awesome and all, and NVIDIA even donated a GeForce GTX 590 to make this thing work like a beast. But here's my problem. Anyone who has ever used Fraps knows that when you turn that sucker on, it cuts your FPS down by a good chunk while it records. On my old PC, what I would do is I would save the files to an external hard drive to reduce this lag. On my new PC, however, when I try to save to an external hard drive, I get a massive FPS drop. But when I save to my internal hard drive, the FPS is good and solid at 60, but there are these massive lag spikes that just show up every 4 or 5 minutes, and I do not know what is causing this. I assume it's because my PC is recording to the thing that is also playing it on. Honestly, I have no clue. I mean, what are my options here, people? What am I doing wrong? Help me out here. Do I need a USB 3 external hard drive? Do I need a separate internal hard drive? Maybe it's because I don't have, the newest Fraps, which I think I do. I mean, help me. Help me out. I got no one to turn to. So I'm hoping that, at least if you watch this, maybe if you don't know the answer, you can send it to someone who does. I mean, let's face it, better fraps equals better videos equals better content for you guys. Anyway, thank you for putting up with that at the end. Thumbs up, subscribe, and as always, to be continued. So I say to you, my children, on the 21st of October,